What up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Batman with another reaction. We got why John Morant still can't escape the freak athlete curse. Let's do it.
Not even 4 years ago, we were talking about John Morant being the face of the league. Now, entering his 8th
Nah,
season,
that's
he's
too
currently
fast.
on a
Hold
new
on.
team, which features a logjam at the point guard position. What happened? I'll tell you what didn't happen. Development, character development, shooting development, the same issues that plagued freak athletes since
Man,
the
he was
history of
popping
the
it on
league.
them. Stop it. That's out of context. Cause I think something he did that for a reason. I forgot what it was at this point.
Development, character development, shooting development.
He didn't do that for no reason.
He
did not do that for no reason.
Another athlete cursed by his athleticism. A couple of weeks ago, I spoke on Anthony Edwards and his development as a professional basketball player and how he managed to escape the freak
Nigga, he
athlete
ain't gonna
curse,
cap.
which in
I
summary
don't know what you mean by escape. He had to already be a decent shooter because this shit didn't just come out of nowhere, did it? If it did, then that's why I'd be like, bro, work on your shooting. If you can come back in one off season shooting the lights out or whatever. But I think he already had a touch. He already had like he was in the realm of being a okay shooter before he just got to be an elite, I think. But I don't think he ever was in this box, is what I'm saying. Like, these niggas really can't shoot, man.
Issues that
like,
plagued freak athletes since the history of the league. Another athlete cursed by his athleticism. A couple of weeks ago,
like, well, Derrick Rose, he couldn't shoot, for real? But look, John Wall wasn't that bad. Kuminga ain't that bad, is he? Russell, man. Amen and Zion, bro. Ben Simmons.
I spoke on Anthony Edwards and his development as a professional basketball player and how he managed to
escape too, but he's not a guard.
Curse, which in summary is an inconsistent and underdeveloped jump shot that is due to muscle tension and an over-reliance on physical abilities. If you want the long story, you can find it up here or here and you can check it out. Now, in the current state of the NBA, a jump shot and more specifically a three-point shot is becoming increasingly required. Now, Anthony Edwards is not the only person to overcome this. There's been guys like Andrew Wiggins, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell. There's been a handful of guys, to be honest with you. But for every freak athlete that overcomes this, there's a dozen who doesn't. And unfortunately, John Morant is one of them. But here's the thing. I actually think in his current situation,
played enough. I haven't seen enough yet.
So we got to go back a handful of years to give this some context. At 22 years old, John Morant averaged 27.4 points per game. He was an all-star starter. He made the All-NBA second team, and he helped Memphis win 56 games on the season. He even shot a career-high 34.4% from three-point, which although is still below the league average, it's respectable. You can't leave that guy open. So we thought we were witnessing the next face of the league. We thought we were looking at the next future MVP. Fast forward 4 years later, and John Morant has now been traded for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. That's how fast things have changed.
That does not matter. He's just that because then he go over here hooping like the old jaw. Then what? That don't mean he fell off. That just mean his value low and some shit going on right now. You know, and people are obviously talking about his personality or whatever, probably. But it just, I don't know what the hell been going on. This nigga barely been playing. I don't know. He been hurt. I don't know what the hell been going on.
Seeing the next face of the league, we thought we were looking at the next future MVP. Fast forward 4 years later, and John Morant has now been traded for Jeremy Grant.
Shit, Kyrie got traded. What he got traded for? And went to the finals and still that nigga, still hooping like, you know? So
that's how fast things have changed.
Don't matter.
It's crazy to say, but John Morant is now 27. His prime is now,
and he
still doesn't have a three-point shot to show for it. And I'm going to explain to you why this is a much bigger issue for someone like John Morant than it even is for someone like a Russell Westbrook. And the reason is simple. John Morant just turned 27. The last season he played, he was only 26. But to date, over the last 7 seasons of his NBA career, he's only played 65 games or more once. He's not durable. Now, some of that is due to suspension, and we'll touch on that later. Bottom line is, he has not been able to stay on the floor. To date, he's missed 192 games due to injury or illness alone. And his game doesn't necessarily scream longevity. That's the difference between him and Westbrook. Westbrook, on the other hand, at the very least, would show up athletically. He was expressive, and he was athletically available. He was durable. He was able to be on the court when he needed him the most. John Morant hasn't proven that. He hasn't been able to stay on the court, whether it's suspensions or it's injuries or it's illness, whatever it is, he can't stay on the floor. So he's going to have to make sure he develops a game that is suitable for the issues that he's been coming past throughout his career. So if John Morant doesn't figure it out soon, this could be a very sad career for one of the most amazing, athletically gifted talents we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. So going into the season, that's what's at stake. And I know Portland doesn't have the highest of expectations by any means, but going into the season, he has to send a message. Bring the pieces that I need around me now because I am solid and I have no weaknesses in my game. I can play alongside anybody. Last season, John Morant shot 23.5% and played only 20 games. The season before that, he shot 31% and played only 50 games. And the season before that, he shot 27.5% and played only 9 games. And if you take all those 3 seasons and add it up, he hasn't even played one season's worth in the last 3 seasons. So what exactly is the problem
Exactly.
here?
I
Because
haven't
Ja
seen
Morant's shooting
enough.
form
Exactly.
isn't actually terrible. It's a little unconventional. It has a bit of a lower set point, but it's not a bad form. It's very much repeatable. It has 2 major things that are working for it. One, he doesn't use a lot of legs, and 2, it's a one motion shot, and that allows it to be repeatable in both aspects throughout the duration of the game. We know that his legs are not going to give out from being overexhausted from running, sprinting, jumping, and shooting jump shots, and because he doesn't jump that high, it's not much of a concern.
Hell
On the
nah.
other hand,
Okay,
he
yeah,
shoots a
he
one
got to
motion
work on
shot
that.
that
I
allows
can tell. Yeah. I don't know about his shooting. I ain't gonna lie.
more
I
consistency.
don't know.
If you look at the top players, the top shooters in the league, more
That
often than
don't
not,
look
they have
right. That
a
don't
one
look
motion
right.
shot, and it allows for them to have deeper range. Now, I'm not no shooting coach, but I know that the main thing that comes into play when it comes to shooting and consistency is repeatability, and that's very obvious. Like, you have to be able to repeat the same motion over and over, no matter what factors are coming into play. And Ja has that. So then why does Ja struggle? We have to ask ourselves, like, what exactly is the issue? I'm going to give you one major clue, and I'm going to let you know right now, you need to understand this. It's not because he doesn't practice shooting. Ja Morant is in the NBA, and he didn't get there from not working hard. Ja Morant is one of the cases of undersized players who worked extremely hard to get to where he is. And I don't think he's exactly lazy now. He puts the reps in. And I say that because a lot of you irresponsibly assume that because a freak athlete isn't up to par in terms of their shooting, it means that they're not working on it. And that's just, it's not always the case. Oftentimes it's the case. Sometimes it's the case, whatever you want to say, but it's not always the case. Some players just are working very hard and they just can't improve it, or they improve it or it looks good, but then when it comes to game, it's a bit of an issue. And it's just like someone who's working out. Like, let me give this analogy. There are people who go to the gym for years at a time. They put in all the effort and they make no gains. It doesn't mean they're not putting in work. It doesn't mean that they're not training hard. It doesn't mean that they're not doing many things right. But it also doesn't mean that they're not making a few critical mistakes that are hindering them from making the full transformation that they're looking to make. That can be very much the case of a very strong athlete who is struggling to shoot. They can be doing everything right in practice, or a lot of major things right in practice in terms of making sure the reps are all the same. But they can be making a few major mistakes or critical mistakes that stops it from translating. And that's a key distinction here, because even in the context of working out, there are certain things that come subconsciously to certain people, like having an increased range of motion, that other people who really struggle with think about
let's
consciously.
do
It's the same
it. Let's fucking go. Shout out Kaminga, man. He went to the T-Wolves. That's what's up. That's what's up, bro. Not waste your time going to damn Lakers, boy. Come on, now. You know that. Nobody going to Lakers, nigga. You know that.
Of having a naturally great shooter and
trying to
someone
win
who's
something.
naturally not inclined to
Trying
shoot
to
very well.
be the missing
Some things they
piece.
have
That's
to
what's
be
up.
more on par about, more mentally focused on, and able to activate that side or that ability that they have also in them. And with that being said, here's the clue. In the 2024-2025 season, Ja Morant has said this: "I'm not trying to dunk at all. Y'all think I'm lying. I'm dead serious." And only 4 days later, against Boston, in Boston, he threw down a ridiculous two-hand reverse pump dunk. I think a lot of you will remember this, and it was a pretty ridiculous dunk. And he went on to defend it by saying he was just trolling, he was joking, but the truth is, he wasn't. He is just unable, or has appeared to be unable, to turn off that instinct to just be athletic, at all times, to catch a body when the opportunity is available to him.
I mean,
something that we spoke
that
about
made
athletic,
sense then.
to just be athletic at all times, to catch a body when the opportunity is available to him. Something that we spoke about in regards to Anthony Edwards, something that Anthony Edwards will sometimes turn off in order to be more relaxed and more fluid. But Ja Morant just has really struggled with his ability to say, okay, I'm just gonna settle down, I'm gonna be a relaxed athlete and play the game a little bit differently, a little bit more calm, slower pace, less explosive, less tense. And that mental struggle is exactly what is revealed in this example right here. He has been at war with himself, trying to turn off that athleticism, because he can't help it. He knows that highlight dunks are great to see. He knows people want to see it. He knows that it's fun for him. It's the most exciting play in the game of basketball. And it's become very difficult for him to settle down, relax, and say, let me play a different game. And the thing is, this isn't a mental adjustment that is exclusive to Ja Morant and his freak athleticism. Majority of freak athletes have to make this adjustment. There are some that come into the league and they already shoot well. They already have a great balance. And those are the top 0.0001%ers. Like, they're just a super rare breed. The Vince Carters, the J.R. Smiths, the people who just come in and they can just already shoot. I'm not saying they're the best shooters, but they can balance things very well. But then you have guys like Andrew Wiggins and Aaron Gordon, and certain players who came in struggling to shoot, weren't the greatest shooters initially, but then had to make that a mental adjustment. And with that often came down a loss of athleticism. Not a loss of athleticism per se, but a turning down of that dimmer. And you'll see it here and there, but Ja Morant just has really struggled to say, let me dim it down for the sake of my jump shot and maybe not look as appealing all the time at every moment, but I'll have this whole new aspect that unlocks my game. I'm not saying it's impossible to balance being super explosive and being a great shooter, but it is a challenge, because it is a bit of a war. So
it just
Ja,
looks
it doesn't matter how many
weird.
reps he puts in the gym. When he knows he's in the gym, now it's shooting time.
And then it's
I
like
need to
how the
relax.
ball
I need to
goes
shoot.
in.
I can knock it down. I can do it 10 times
small
out of 10.
things.
When he's in the game and it's time to get a bucket, the best way you can get a bucket, no matter what, you have to score. He's gonna play athletically. He's gonna play with a lot of tension. He's gonna play with a lot of explosiveness. and it's hard for him to make.
He at least gotta be money in the midi, right?
He's gonna have that struggle because he's always in attack mode. He's always
I think he do be making his
creation mode. But let's talk about this Portland team and why it's very special. Now, it's not very special in terms of talent per se or expectations.
You do got a lot of talent.
Anything of the Trailblazers at all.
But when you look at Ja Morant's
situation and this weird, unique logjam at the point guard and guard position, you have Damian Lillard, who's now alongside Ja Morant, someone who is also
he need to tell him something about shooting.
He's never allowed his athleticism to play his ability to shoot the ball, and he's always been known as a shooter. But people forget that Damian Lillard, when he was a rookie, when he was younger, he was dunking on people. Also, there is Jrue Holiday, who, although isn't a freak athlete, he's a very, very great shooter. And now you have these two guards who work extremely hard, always in the gym, workhorses, who are now there alongside Ja Morant. And I think that's going to mold him. And they have tips that he won't get on other teams. He's playing along two guards. They all play the same position, essentially, at some point in their career. And they have tips that they can feed him. They have a lot of information that they can feed him. And because of that, Ja Morant needs to know, hey, I'm not always going to be needed to be on the ball. I'm going to have to be able to catch and shoot. With them, I'm going to be working on catch and shoot. I'm going to be getting passes from Dame. I'm going to be getting passes from Jrue Holiday. Now, I do believe he's going to be the primary ball handler, but he's not always going to have to be on ball. So he's going to have to develop that catch and shoot. And they're going to know exactly, okay, when I go down and I'm slashing to the right, I like to throw it over my shoulder and hit you at the 3-point line at the elbow. Like, they're going to be communicating like that. So you got to be ready to catch that shot and make it. So these are the things that these guys can communicate with each other. They're going to be able to give him tips. Them alongside the shooting coach are going to be able to help Ja Morant, I believe, develop better than he ever could have in Memphis. Now, the story wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention this. And with Ja Morant, there's always more to the story. His off-court antics have obviously plagued part of his career and been part of his perceived regression. Ja Morant is still lethal. He's still lethal talent. He's still very good at basketball, obviously, but he did suffer over the course of 3 suspensions, 34 games lost in his career. That kind of helps with building consistency, being on the court. Also, when you combine that with the amount of injuries and illnesses he's had, it makes things very difficult. But now Ja Morant is outside of Memphis, which, with all due respect, Memphis has definitely had a play in how Ja Morant has been developing as a young adult, because Memphis is not a place for people to go. Okay, Memphis is not the best place. If you go to the NBA right now and you ask them where's the one city you don't want to go, it's always Memphis. Memphis is very ghetto. So Ja Morant is out, and obviously
why? Because it's black people.
You don't want to go, it's always Memphis. Okay, Memphis is not the best place. If you go to the NBA right now and you ask them where's the one city you don't want to go, it's always Memphis. Memphis is very ghetto. So Ja Morant is out, and obviously he's still Ja Morant. He still has to make his own responsible.
No, I mean, I don't doubt that it's treacherous or whatever, but he probably got some good spots there, though. I ain't been there. I ain't gonna let you dictate it. I have to go there myself, but I'm not going for that.
Decisions. It's not all because
it's easy to talk shit about black towns. It's easy to say
Memphis, that. He's still Ja Morant, but hopefully that whole Ja Wick phase is out. And now he can focus on the game of basketball and develop into the superstar talent. He's a superstar, but just the complete talent that we expected of Ja back when he was 22 years old. So overall, I wouldn't say that I believe Ja Morant is now a reformed man, now that he is 27 years old. But I do believe he has enough sense to read the room. And he's been traded from a team that he probably never envisioned himself leaving at a certain point. And now he has to accept the fact that he didn't just leave, they got rid of him. So that probably hurts him, and it's probably going to fuel some fire and allow him to work super hard. And I'm sure he's getting work right now. And this is honestly probably the best thing that could have happened to Ja Morant. So overall, Portland has now given Ja Morant the tools that will allow him to escape, but it doesn't mean that he will escape. So until he learns how to control the athleticism that has ultimately made him special, he'll remain trapped. But I have faith in you, Ja. With that.
Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think, bro. I'm out, man. Okay.